Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we're checking out a loud maker. That's the best thing I can do to explain this. Hi, if it's your first time here, my name is Tim. I'm a recording and mix engineer, and I just want to make things easier for you. I don't really have words for this plugin. It's a loud box. All it does is make your stuff loud, but in a great way. Thanks to the guys at Make Believe Studios, we now have the CG2. Let's dive into the DAW. So here we are inside of our session, and here it is. This is in conjunction with Chris Gehringer from Sterling Sounds, the famous mastering house. And this thing is ridiculous. If you want to jump to the audio examples, use the chapters down below. We're very quickly going to go over the controls like we typically do in these videos. All right, so let's go over all of the controls. We're going to go top to bottom on this one because that's going to help make sense as we continue down. Along the top, you have your header with your preset browser, your A and your B side, things we can kind of see in a lot of plugins these days. Preset browser, etc. I'm going to go ahead and go to the cogwheel here because you're going to see that it's going to change something on the main interface. And that gives us something in the top right corner. Continuing down, this is our built-in dither, and you can enable it or disable it with the button underneath. And it gives you dither amounts for 24-bit all the way down to 16-bit. If you don't already know, dithering is just added noise that's put into signals that this way, when they're compressed down to things like MP3 and other digital formats, that kind of preserves the audio integrity. That's probably the easiest way to tell you right now what dither is. We'll go into full depth in a future video. Next to that, you're going to see these big tubes with numbers on them, minus 99.99. This is your output meter. But what kind of meter is it? Well, in its default state, it's an LUFS meter, a LUFS meter. But you can change this to whatever you want it to be by clicking on the decimal point. So right now, integrated LUFS. We also have momentary, short-term, and true peak, and these also have a secondary option with hold on all of them. I'm going to leave it as LUFS meter right now because you need to see this thing in action. It's ludicrous. Underneath that, you have your density and loudness controls. So the density control and the loudness control are kind of predetermined. One is a saturator and one helps unmask some frequencies. And this is dialed in with Chris being the one in charge of making sure that it is according to his standards. That's why they're working with him on this one. So density helps unmask some of the things happening within your production. And loudness is just a little bit of saturation feeding into the final limiter. Then underneath here, we have just some toggle switches. I'm actually going to start with the 0 dB, minus 0.1, and minus 1 dB. And this is the ceiling of that limiter. You can have it go to 0 if that's something you need. Just a little bit under, so we're not peaking, or you can do a full dB under. Next to that is the bypass button. This just mimics the bypass button on multiple places within this plugin. Then you have true peak. This engages the true peak portion of the limiter, making sure that peaks don't sneak through if they're in between samples. Wink. And filter is a 1 Hertz DC block filter, and it's just to get rid of electrical noise. So if you seem to have some extra, you can engage this and get rid of it. All right, that's all of the controls. Now let's get into how this thing sounds. We're going to be working within our full mix. This is available on the multitrack site. The song is called 80s Rocker from Prusinski, is my guess on saying that name. But instead of that, let's just go ahead and start messing around with the controls so you can see what this thing does. Keep an eye on the meters here because all I'm going to do is just make this louder and louder. I'm going to protect your ears, but I'm going to make it louder and louder to show you how high we can push this with just this one plugin. I had to stop. I have my monitors at my usual mixing volume, This thing is just still going, and you can see the LUFS meter on top was still climbing. I'm going to do something real fast. Check this out. Now, you may be wondering, Tim, why are the numbers moving but I'm not hearing anything? That is to show you how high we can push this. I've taken the density control and the loudness control and have put them all the way up, because as the song is playing, I want to see where these meters go. And then we'll drop them all the way back down, and I'll reset everything so that we can see where we started and how much clean signal can come out from this plugin, just this one plugin with 2 controls. Now, the entire time I've been talking, this has been climbing, and it is still climbing. We're at -11. So we're already past that target loudness of -14 that we hear about. It's not really a target, but we're not going to get into that. But look, we're already at -10. We're still pushing. And this thing is super, super clean. It seems like we've settled at -10.9, somewhere in this area. Where did we start? Give me just a second. It's going to cut away. You'll see. So I went ahead and I reset playback. This is our starting point with nothing pushed. I have no density going on. I have no loudness going on. We got 11 dB of clean gain to push and no clipping because there's a limiter built right in. No noise because we've used the density to help unmask with a filter to just knock off all of the low ends that may be tricking you or your products like this to just be noise. It's getting rid of all of that and giving you clean signal and louder productions. There's way more that goes into mastering, but with this one plugin, you've taken a lot of what Chris does in his usual mastering setup. You've got it in one plugin, and it's easy dials. Density to help kind of clean things up, and don't go too crazy. You saw when we pushed in, it really started like pushing in, and yes, it made things louder, but it got too much at one point. Then, of course, the loudness meter is push into that limiter. Get a little bit of that saturation. And, you know, fast and easy masters with one plugin. Amazing. The CG2 is available right now from Make Believe, so use the link down in the description to grab a copy for yourself. In the meantime, happy mixing, happy mastering, and we'll see you next time. Take care.